Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to the channel. If you're a regular, I certainly always appreciate your presence. Love your comments. I love the hypes. I love the support in general, right? I need that right now, as do many content creators in this space. We know that there have been some challenges around algorithms and supposedly shadow banning and other things. So just really appreciate you, and I can't say that enough. Also, want to say before I forget, next week I will be out of town, so I'll check in with you, but my schedule may be a little here and there. But I'll definitely check in with you all. And Mojo Oils are in, for those of you on the wait list for my Mojo Oils, the next batch that I've started them. I try to wait until I get into that full moon energy, and then I'm going to need to let them marinate a little bit. I'm going to do a blog on my website. Many of you have said, what's in them. I can't tell you everything, but I'll give you some ideas, more ideas about what's in them, how I make them, the intention behind them, how you can use them or best use them to get good results with them. So keep a lookout for that as well. I'm going to do a blog about that. All right. Let's get to a couple of things. California primary in particular. I know there are some others, but California on Tuesday, June 2nd, hugely important. And we know it's been a mess, y'all, right? Ever since Swalwell, did what he did and it came out, it's really been a mess. So it's looking like, according to the latest polls, I always take a little time and do my research and take my notes before I log on with you all. If you're not familiar with me, I used to be a newspaper reporter. So, you can take the newspaper out of the girl away from the newspaper, but you can't take that out of the journalist. So here's what I want to look at. One, we're seeing that most of the polls now are basically saying it's probably going to come down to Xavier Becerra and Steve Hilton, Republican. I want to see if that's accurate, if that's what it's looking like. And then, perhaps equally important, Gavin Newsom got pushed through the legislature in time for the June 2nd primary because didn't want no shenanigans there, like we are pretty sure might have happened with the Massey vote in Kentucky, right? Okay. So he's got a law that's come through. Gavin Newsom pushed a law through, and the legislature has passed it in time for the June 2nd primaries that has made it illegal for the ballots to be seized from local election officials, like we saw happen in Georgia, like they've been threatening to do all around the country, and like Spirit has said is likely a part of this administration's planned moves for the midterms to stall everything out, to challenge everything, to go and grab the ballots. So Gavin Newsom has gotten out in front of this and gotten this law through and said illegal to seize ballots from local election officials. I want to take a look and see if is that going to catch on, because we've been hearing for a while now from Pritzker and other governors, Dem governors, and AGs who have been saying, listen, our eyes are on ways to protect the elections for the midterms, and perhaps this is one way to do it. So let's go in. Number one, will Becerra emerge as a victor in the primary? Oop. Justice. I don't ignore a major arcana when it comes. Oh, wait. Irizumi. I'm reading from this Yakuza Tarot, and they have a special, and I'm not even sure who that is. They have a special major arcana that they bring out. So I have justice in this. This just feels like a leader to me. If I have time, I don't want to detract too much from it, but I may look it up in the book. In fact, Spirit's telling me go ahead and do it. Who is Irizumi? Let's see if we can find it quickly. There. And did my hand go right to it? Okay, so it must be something we're supposed to look at. All right, it is considered a major arcana card, and it has legacy. It is about legacy and transformation. and it is about protection and sacred transformation. Okay, got it. So justice, sacred transformation. I think we're going to see Becerra emerge. All right, perhaps Hilton as well. Not going to worry too much about that. We'll look, if that's going to be Becerra's opponent, then we'll look at that as we get closer to the race, to the midterms in November. But it's looking like Becerra. All right, now, will this type of law, excuse me, that Newsom got pushed through the legislature, we're going to see more laws from governors and states to keep election officials protected, to keep the ballots safe and secure. We have the Seven of Wands. I like it, right? A card of courage, a card of stand your ground, and the fight to keep the integrity of the elections. And the Three of Pentacles. Yes, that's definitely a confirmation that this is one of the methods. Again, we've been hearing, some of the AGs that have been gathering, the governors that have been gathering and having meetings. There have been the word on the wire has been they're trying to come up with some mechanisms to protect the vote. Definitely, Three of Pentacles is a card of collaboration and working together. So I think we are going to see more of that. Now, whether other states would have time to push it through their legislatures in time for November, Spirit, will they? Page of Cups, getting it started, getting it going. People want it. They want to know. And the Devil. That's interesting. And two cards just came with the Five of Swords and the Code. This deck is challenging me with these special cards. The Code. This I don't feel like I need to look this one up, you all. This one is the Code is essentially the code of conduct, the laws and procedures to protect the vote. The Devil, though, is there's going to be some pushback. It's not going to be easy. And it could even be that if certain states are not able to get a law in place, like Gavin Newsom just did in California, you all, that after the fact, in other words, there will be resistance chained and bound when and if this administration tries to go after ballots in certain states where the races don't go the way that they want, right? We're expecting certainly a blue wave. So that's the pushback against them. And I think that's where the Code comes in is we're going to see a lot of court cases, court filings, challenges, etc. But this is really important that Gavin Newsom got out ahead of this and the legislature got out ahead of this in California. And we are going to see some sort of replica or replication of that in the states. All right. Either in time for the elections or as going through due process to make sure that the integrity of the votes are kept. So for all the naysayers we're hearing out there, no, they're just going to, manipulate the machines and nothing's going to go right. I don't think so. All right. Now, we understand that Peter Thiel is getting ready to abscond essentially to Argentina. Went and bought a $12 million mansion, made arrangements, got his kids enrolled in school or making preparations to put his kids in school there, etc., etc. What's that about? Why, Spirit, why is Peter Thiel making a move to Argentina? Why is he, and again, we've got the doomsday folks out there saying, oh, that must mean, something really bad is about to happen in the United States, like it isn't already, right? But I get a little JD Vance in there on this because this is not putting JD Vance in a good position, right? He wouldn't be where he is without Peter Thiel's help. So let's just take a look and see what Spirit says. Why is Peter Thiel making this move to Argentina? What does it spell for the United States? We have the Three of Wands. So he wants to grow his, and the King of Wands. I feel like that's him. I'm not going to ignore it. This is in some, on some measure, and maybe large measure, this is a business decision for him. He sees, he's always about expansionism, and he sees, and there's the devil. Interesting, because he's the one always out there, on this Antichrist tour and all of that. There's fear, there's bondage that he want, and the magician. Okay, come, thank you, Spirit. Spirit's definitely speaking here. He wants to. This is a reach, and Thiel feels like to a certain extent he's done not all he can do in the United States, but he's achieved a lot of his aims here, right? And he wants to, now he's looking globally. He wants global domination. That's one of the reasons why he went on that Antichrist tour, including to Italy, right? And he's supposed to be a devout Catholic. Thiel was supposed to be the one who actually got JD to convert to Catholicism, right? But the magician is saying he's trying to create something new. And the Six of Wands, he's trying to grow. He's trying to push. He wants, and I don't know what current deals he may already have in Argentina in terms of his businesses or how they're operating there. But this very much is, he's looking at spreading his influence globally, even more than it already is. And the Seven of Pentacles, 100%. This is about what he can do to continue to spread his influence globally I get the sense that Silicon Valley is one thing, and data centers and all of the things that were, Palantir, all of the things that are happening here in the US, he wants backups in other countries such as Argentina, because is he afraid, Spirit, is Peter Thiel afraid of regulation starting to hit once the regime is out of power? Is he afraid of what's coming in the United States? Two of Pentacles and Judgment. He's afraid when the balance of power, Two of Pentacles, when the balance of power shifts, he's afraid. And to a certain extent, I think this might be some legal repercussions as well, because Spirit has spoken over and over again about all of the investigations. Once the United States finally has a Department of Justice again, right? that they know it's coming. All of these major players know, and their fingerprints are over everything, right? So it's not going to be hard to trace them. He knows that judgment is coming. So this isn't him extracting himself from the U.S., but he's trying to plan his next steps for where he can be a dominant force and an influential force, especially in business, all right? Spreading his business interests. So that's what's up with him. We'll see how that goes. Spirit, I am being led to ask just one other question around JD Vance, because this is definitely going to impact to the... That did not go well. Let me do it again. This is definitely going to impact JD's, we've been hearing him waffling about whether he even wants to try and throw his hat in the ring for 2028. He sees, and Spirit has said, thank you, Spirit, confirmation has said forever. Don't even get worked up about Vance's prospects in the future, that he was never going to last for long. Spirit, is this move by Thiel going to cause a rift between he and JD Vance, or essentially JD Vance loses some of his support? The High Priestess and the Star. He's hoping not. JD is hoping not. He's hoping that because Thiel will still have a hold here, his interests here, that he can rely on him, that he'll still, he's been a good boy, right? JD's been a good boy. He's done as he's been told to do. So the Star is his hope that he can continue to have that Peter Thiel will continue to do whatever financially and otherwise to assist him in his whatever his next endeavors are going to be, but that may even be business. That's spirit. Is JD thinking long term? He knows his political chances are shot. Is he thinking long term that he will be able to work with and his next moves by staying with Peter Thiel? That Peter Thiel will look out for him in business. Seven of Pentacles, considering him, working with him, long-term approach. So he still wants to hitch his wagon to Peter Thiel. And Nine of Cups, that's his wishes. JD still wants to hitch his wagon to Peter Thiel. And so he's going to continue to play nice. And I do think, though, that he's thinking, JD is thinking, odds are I probably don't have a long future in politics. So I'm going to need to go back to business in some regards. And the only person who may still accept me in that, in that realm is Peter Thiel. So that's what he's planning. All right. And the last thing I want to close out with today is this so-called freedom birthday thingamajig, whatever, UFC Freedom 250 on the mall is going to, the White House is in a panic. And Trump is having fits because we now know, I guess the word on the street has been out there a while, but now it's really catching on. The next No Kings is on the 14th, right? And none other than the boss himself, Bruce if I can get my words straight, Bruce Springsteen is going to be headlining what they're calling the flagship event in Minnesota. But they have 3,100 events planned across the United States. They're estimating already around 9 million people. Now, we know Trump has basically, they mandated that they got to bring in, just to fill that UFC area on the South Lawn, they are mandating military personnel to fill those seats just to make sure there's an audience there, right? We're talking $9 million, not dollars, 9 million people around, estimates. And so far, when No Kings and Indivisible have gotten together and had these marches, they've been pretty on point. Not only will these events happen in the U.S., but we are also understanding Indivisible has announced that there will also be rallies held in, check it out, Canada, Germany, France, Sweden, Australia, Mexico, Greece, Italy, Portugal, the UK, to name a few. All right? So you're going to see, while he's sitting there probably half asleep, and these cage matches going on and whatever other pomp and circumstance he was counting on, this is going to be such an anti that, right? An anti message being sent to him. I just want to see, will there be success? Will this achieve the aim of overshadowing? Because that's the worst. That is the absolute worst. And for his 80th, we know he made a big to-do around his 79th, and No Kings did the same thing last year with great success. Spirit, is he gonna have a meltdown? The Seven of Wands, he knows it's coming. The same Irizumi came back. So what was it? Sacred transmission or transformation or something? It has to happen. This is a part, I think what Spirit is saying through this deck, you all, is it's more confirmation that for all of the pain and anxiety that America is being put through right now, that there is a higher calling to it. And to have something this successful, No King's next one coming up on the 14th, to have it be that big and that successful and that global is going to further mobilize people I got the Ace of Cups. Thank you, Spirit. Confirmation in the direction I'm going in. It's going to mobilize people. Cups, emotions, happiness, joy, reconnection. For all of the isolationism that has begun to feel like it's taken place with America, pulling America away from its global allies. It's going to be an incredible reminder from our global allies. We still see you and we still know you're there and we're still with you. Now, y'all got to figure some stuff out. Like, y'all got to really get it together. But Page of Cups coming with that ace. This is such a renewed, affirming energy that's going to take place. And so on his end, because that he ain't feeling that. That's definitely people around the world and people in America specifically filled with joy, filled with a renewed sense of purpose going into November. How will this impact from? Knight of Wands. He's going to do his usual denial. King of Cups. And the Seven of Cups. And Justice. Yeah, he's going to do his usual denial and pretend that it didn't really happen and it wasn't what the press is showing and the pictures are fixed. I think this King of Cups may be, I don't get hex at this Cups. This is somebody in his administration. And the Four of Swords. This is somebody in his administration already. This is somebody in communications. What's his name? Chung, perhaps, his communications guy. This is somebody already, they see the writing on the wall. They know what has happened every time there's been a No Kings, these No Kings rallies, right? So they see it and they're already prepping for this, America strong, patriot strong, don't pay attention to what you saw. And yes, there may even be that Seven of Cups. There may even be that the MAGA cultists who will believe whatever they are told. But the truth of the matter is, he'll know. He'll know. He'll see it. Kamuchu. That's another special card. I need to read up on this. I don't know what made me pull this deck today, but I need to read up on these characters. But this just feels like a person in charge. And then the Six of Cups, wanting to return to the past, because that's really where he lives. He lives in the 80s, right? He's still trying to see himself as that guy in the 80s when he was, rocking and rolling. And this almost feels imaginary, like just not dealing with the truth of the matter. And we've been hearing a lot lately that to the extent that his circle has become so small, is he even being told the truth? Is he being shown the truth? What does he actually have access to? Technically everything, but there's a filter there. There's a filter, and he's going to just try and stay in the past, right? And claim it was all beautiful, it was all amazing, and whatever you saw, by these folks that have that derangement syndrome, don't believe the hype. And there will be those who don't, but it also looks like there will be millions and millions, both in the U.S. and around the globe, who know otherwise. All right, you all have a great weekend. Take really good care of yourselves. Keep those chins up. It's working. All right, keep your chins up, shoulders back, right? And come from your heart. Like, do that several times a day, especially when you feel yourself getting like, all right, I do it all the time. All right, I wouldn't be talking about it and reinforcing it this much if I didn't, right? So I know that it works, right? Sky above, always, and the earth beneath us, holding us steady. This global energy, right? We are a part of a larger whole, and that whole is holding. All right, I'll talk to you a little later. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.